Wait, did that...
Welcome to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us for another edition of DAX Machina. Sorry for that little technical glitch. For some reason, the intro just stopped playing. Fortunately, I was able to get it going back quickly. Joining me tonight is Robbie Rip Rains and Anthony Pitbull Cantatella. Well, I don't think we're going to have a Doc sighting. Last I knew, he was in Las Vegas, and I don't think he'll be here tonight. Joining us from near Manchester, England, is Leon Howarth from the awesome channel Do It Noel's Way. And we got our very own Tombstone in the house, and John Kershaw from Creepers, Cryptids, and Paranormal Corner should be joining us shortly. So we're going to be an awesome show tonight. I appreciate you guys joining us. Leon, how are you doing? It's been a hot minute since you've been with us.
I'm doing well, doing pretty good. Christmas and New Year and my birthday's all out of the way. I can get back to normal now and get back in the real world.
Here you
Hope you guys are all well.
Doing well. I see you're still mainlining Red Bull.
That's right, brother.
Tim, appreciate you joining us. I know it's your first time actually being on this side of the show, but we're damn glad to have you, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, good. It's hotter than the Sasquatch's nether regions outside, but I'm good. I got the aircon on, so yeah.
Well, definitely want to make sure you stay cool. It's always weird.
I don't want to be melting on camera, the great melting Australian. No.
Not only are you opposite, like it's nighttime here and daytime there, but it's summer there and winter here. So it seems so bizarre, so surreal sometimes.
Yeah,
because the technology to do this didn't exist when I was a kid, and it just always it strikes me as amazing that we're just able to hang out and have a conversation with someone from the UK and someone from Australia at the same time.
Plus it's Sunday afternoon here too, which is
you're coming to us from the future.
Yeah, and what's up?
Hey, can you tell me tomorrow? Can you tell me the lottery lottery numbers from tonight?
Once I figure that out, I'll get back to you guys and we'll sort that out.
How does that? Never mind. I'm gonna
call myself the cowboy.
That ain't hard to do.
I know the feeling, brother. Yeah, it's been fairly chilly here, but weather's not horrible. It was like 18 degrees last night, but it was in the 50s today, so not too bad, bouncing back and forth. I know you guys both have got
here in Florida.
Nice, which is bizarre for Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you guys are both big into cryptids. Where you guys are from, both studying the Dogman phenomenon, and Leon puts out some awesome videos over in his neck of the woods where he's done research. One of the things that I've learned from Leon was to watch railroad trackways, and I've been finding more evidence doing that than I previously had because I wasn't checking those pathways. However, we do check gas line right-of-ways and power line right-of-ways that have been clear cut through the woods. Both of those seem to be like highways for these things. So, Leon, you want to tell us about your channel, a little bit about your research before we really start jumping into the sightings?
Well, my channel is really a bit of all sorts, but the main steering part of it now is the cryptid side. I've really got into it probably, let me think. God, thinking of COVID time now, you lose 2 years, don't you? Say about 5 years. About 5 years, got into it really. Got hold of it. Really, interested into it. But yeah, my channel and my work I do, basically, someone will give me an encounter and say, such a thing happened at such a place on such a day, and I was in such an area. If I can get to that area within a couple of hours, I'll go down there and I'll look at that area. I'll see if everything there telling me lines up. A certain road is near there, or a certain body of water is near there. I'll also check the weather on that day that they said they did it. There's all sorts of things that I can check where I'll go and have a see if the first things first, that person is saying not only they saw a creature, but that place does exist. So I always go, I'm pretty strict with, before I get hold of a case, let's call it, I'll go and have a look into it before I do anything, make anything, record anything at all. There's a lot of people trying to catch you out, and there's a lot of non-believers who are trying to catch us out, as they with everything. But yeah, I don't film every single thing. As you can imagine, it would be just non-stop. And it would get pretty boring, really, for everyone if it showed me driving down a motorway for an hour or so to get to a certain place. But yeah, that's round about me and what I do. And yeah, there's not a lot more I can say.
Well, I posted the link for your channel in the chat. Folks, check that out. I'll go ahead and throw it in again, just to have that out there. Make sure you guys go over and show his channel a little love. Give him a like and subscribe. Check out his videos because he's got some freaking awesome content over there. And dude, I got to tell you, I think you've got balls of steel when you went into that cave system, that tunnel system, and you guys can't be armed. I would not have gone in there without at least a shotgun.
Mm-hmm. No, that was crazy. We've been in a couple now, in the same area, and yeah, one of the last ones we went in, we found cat prints in there. Cat prints in England are about the size of your tip of your thumb. Yeah. The ones we found were like probably the size of a Labrador, but they were cat, not canine. There were no claw marks in there. And yes, I believe in all this, and I know that these strange things do exist. But when you come face to face in a little water-filled cave the size of a wardrobe and there's footprints of a big cat, you start to pucker up a bit and think, shit, I wish I had a 9mm or something with me. There's something, it's just not fair, this. We're in this tunnel and all I've got is a penknife. But yeah.
And your rapier-like wit.
Yeah.
You get off a few scathing remarks before it gets to you.
That's it.
There was one thing, my mate's a bit slower than me. I always make sure I've got someone older than me or a little bit lame.
Yeah.
So I can leave them and run like, you know what?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the way to do it. You don't have to outrun the cryptid. You just have to outrun the guy you're with.
That's it. That is it.
Tim, tell us a little bit about some of your area, where you're at, and the kind of cryptid activity you've got in your area as well.
Well, we got a place from us. Well, probably about 2.5 hours from us, called the Barrington Tops, which is like a big national park. And that place is huge. So people go hiking in that there, and that's been a pretty big Yowie hotspot for ages. Lots of activity. There's been Dogman sightings as well, and 2 hours from us up the Central Coast. Then there's one down Sydney as well. But yeah, the Barrington Tops, my missus has been camping there too, and that's also the place, the sanctuary. They've just released Tasmanian Devil, as well as calls and stuff too. So it's ripe with a whole bunch of activity, all sorts of different things. But yeah, there's plenty of Yowie stuff been going on there. She even saw glimpses of adult Tassie tiger as well up there.
Really?
Yeah. Like I was telling DA a while back, my mom back home where I grew up down the south coast of Western Australia, right back near where I was just saying before about where I grew up. She saw an adult and a young Tassie tiger there. And my mom doesn't bullshit, doesn't make shit up. And she knows stuff. She knows the difference between a cat and a dog, and and it was on dusk when she saw them, and they literally saw her paid no mind to it kind of thing, kind of glanced like, oh yeah. Then they just wandered off into the bracken.
So she actually saw a pair of thylacine, living thylacine.
Yeah, she did. And
I think it's only a matter of time till they come forward and say, hey, these things aren't extinct, because the sightings keep falling in on those.
I think Forrest Galante has got stuff that he's just waiting to get the go ahead to go.
I agree.
I heard an interview he did the other day, and he all but said that he actually saw it and has the documentation. So I think he's just waiting to get. I think he's just waiting to get the go ahead to actually be able to.
Because there's so much untouched. We have so much untouched wilderness here that there's easily able to be pocket populations of them everywhere. I mean, down where I grew up, like Western Australia, like it's known for like hairy man and yowie and that in certain spots, but down where I grew up, it wasn't really known right down there because it's right down on the coast. But there was like Tassie tiger, like Thylacine sightings there from the 1800s right through to like nearly the 1980s around the entire area where I grew up. So I don't doubt they're there either.
Isn't Australia the size of the States?
I think it's pretty close.
I think it's pretty close, yeah. But our actual, like, our states, we have, like, few states compared, and our states are huge. Like, Western Australia itself is massive where I grew up. And lots of desert there. And that's the funny thing is, too, a lot of people think, like, they're here outback, but, like, we've got pretty much every diverse kind of climate you can think of. We have, like, rainforest, we have desert, we have snow, we have everything. So, and the other thing is, too, like, when it comes to, like, say, food for anything that's out there, living out there, we have an abundance. We have a massive feral deer population now. We have feral pigs. We've got kangaroos, upteenth amounts of kangaroos too. So you think about all that, anything that's out is going to be well fed, well and truly fed, like a smorgasbord pretty much.
Yeah, there was a TV show over in England called The Bush Tucker Man. I think it was in the 80s.
Yeah, Les.
He went to all parts of Australia and that, and I thought that's when I realised then that I'd only ever seen Mad Max and thought that's what it was like everywhere there.
Well,
once you saw that program, it was like, wow, there's all sorts of habitat.
Yeah, like I mean, growing up where I grew up, I thought, you know, everything was like, you know, being a kid, I thought everything was like where I was. It was all green and bush and that. But when I went other place, I'm like, oh, okay, same state, but it's the desert now. You know, so, yeah.
Sorry. Hey, Leon, you got one of your videos where you captured some Dogman audio. You want to tell us about that? Would you mind telling us about that a little bit and tell us where you found that?
Yeah, that was it was a place called Winter Hill, and that's in Lancashire in England. It's not very far from where I am. There's a real lot of strange things go on around there, not just cryptids, there's UFOs, ghosts, there's all sorts of things. It's got ley lines running through it, and not very far from where I had the audio to run in, there is a stone circle as well. So it's a proper ancient old place. But I was doing an investigation in the woods. We were meant to stay awake all night and basically act as though we were just camping out there in the middle of this woods, trying to lure something in. And we fell asleep, like you do. But luckily, I'd put a audio recorder out and a Bushmill trail cam type thing. It wasn't a Bushmill, but the trail cam died. That's probably why it was. My audio caught what I heard, and it was basically, it was about 2:00 in the morning. I was proper asleep, and I heard this noise. What woke me up? And I didn't just hear this noise; I felt it, a vibration inside my sleeping bag, inside my chest, like, and it was. It sounded like the low rumble of a lion or a tiger. It was like a but that doesn't pay any credence for it at all. How powerful this noise were.
How far away do you think it was?
It was round about 40, 50 yards away where it was. I was in my sleeping bag, like I say, it was pitch black. Jumped up, first thing I grabbed was my little knife. Then, what I did, then I got my phone and started filming through my phone as well. I've got video of it happening, and I like I say, I've got a recording of the audio. We got up, first light we were up, we checked the area where we heard it coming from, and there was absolutely nothing, no paw prints, no marks, no nothing. But the only thing we could work out is that it was we were next to the West Pennine Moors, so we think it might have been on the moors when it come up to where we realised we were next to this water source. There's a little stream running at the back of the camp, and it must have got annoyed and made this noise. But in the same place, about a month before, we was out in the woods, in that probably within about a quarter of a mile, close to that, and we heard a howl in the middle of the night. So we've got all sorts of noises around there, but that area itself, it is like I say, very ancient, really creepy, and it's not a place what I'd rush to go camping again. But if anyone wants to hear it, that audio, I think the film is, if you go on my channel, it's Dogman Werewolf Hunt for Evidence, and it's the Nighttime Hunt Part 2. And the audio's on there, you'll catch it all on there and what we got up to. But it's really strange, really weird. And actually, at the end of the film, I've got a comparison of a guy feeding a lion to give you some idea of the sound it made. But that was the closest sound I could find to the animal.
I haven't heard it. I got to watch it. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, you learned that American Werewolf in London was right. Stick clear of the moors.
Yeah, well, that was it. This woodland
on the
backs
road.
onto it, and
Yes,
it just goes on for miles and miles.
Right.
But yeah, it was
So, Leon,
pretty scary night.
I know being over here, we hear about, because you mentioned the cat tracks earlier. I know we hear that over here all the time, but is that something that's really prevalent? People talking about seeing those black cats out on the moors and things like that?
Yeah, it's a big thing at the moment. It seemed to, excuse me, the Red Bull's repeating on me. It seemed to get busy and more sightings when it was lockdown, because people weren't going to work, but you was allowed to go and exercise out, in the woods or on the moors and everything. And over that 2 years of the lockdown, the big cat sightings went through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
People reported them, and it started to get on mainstream news and things like that. But the funny thing is, and I'm not the only one to say this, wherever these big cats are being seen, they're in strange places where cryptids, Bigfoot-like creatures, dogmen, and UFOs are all being seen as well. It seems to be an area that is attracting these strange things. We all know these big cats are about. The only thing is, over here, there's no way that the powers that be will admit that they do exist and they are roaming around. And for that reason, I don't really know why they won't, but it's probably because they can't control them or something like that. I don't know, but there seems to be a big cat sighting, a cryptid sighting, a UFO sighting, and some strange other paranormal thing that all exist. Just not very long ago, there was a guy, a mate of mine who's in Yorkshire over here, called Paul Sinclair, and he was saying the same thing where he looks into, it's the other side of the country where I am. He looks into the same thing, and he's come to the same conclusion that the big cats and the weird phenomenon are like that. But yeah, it's definitely a strange one, and there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
I watched one the other night. They had everything's a black panther. Everything's a black leopard, black panther. I mean, I was like, why only black? Like, why is that? Like here in Florida and where Robbie is and DA, we have mountain lions and Florida panthers, and it's very rare to see a black Florida panther in Florida. Tons of panthers. It's the same thing as a mountain lion. That's what I didn't get. But
well, the thing is over here in England, it reckoned that everyone seems to think that it's after the 1976 Dangerous Animal Act, where before then you could keep all things like bloody crocodiles, elephants,
right,
lions, everything. And in 1976 they brought a new law out that said if you don't have this special license in these certain scenarios where you keep these animals in real cages and they've got to be this, that, and that, you can't just roam around your garden or your farm as like a petting zoo. They've got to be locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people who had exotic cats, instead of putting them to sleep, they reckon they let them go. And a lot of the things people wanted back then were sexy looking black cats. So that's why we seem to have black cats around here. They're escaped pets, basically. Well, released pets that have come together as breeding pairs all over the country. But yeah, it always seems to be black all the time. There was something funny some years ago. Someone reckoned they saw a lion in a field and all hell broke loose. They sent an helicopter up, the bloody armed response unit and everything. When they got to this field, it was a stuffed teddy.
That's funny.
That was fun. But yeah, that was the only one that wasn't a black cat.
Want to take a minute to welcome John Kershaw from Creepers, Cryptids, and Paranormal Corner. Glad he got to jump in. John, how are you doing tonight?
Good, mate. How are you? How's everyone going?
Oh, so far so good, but it's early. Had a chance to introduce Leon and Tomb already. I wanted to jump in and introduce you. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your channel and a little bit about your research? And I'm going to post the link to your channel in the chat right now, folks. This is the link for John's YouTube channel, Creepers, Cryptid, and Paranormal Corner. Make sure you guys show him some love. Give him a like and subscribe.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, I only started doing my podcast and my channel in the lockdowns last year with the COVID lockdowns. We weren't allowed to do anything. I was allowed to work, so I do civil construction. I worked through the whole thing no matter what. Nothing stopped for us, but just needed that little bit of escape. And I'd had encounters in the past, and I thought, well, this is a good thing when I'm sitting around at home and I'm not at work, can't do anything. So I can tell everyone about my encounters and show some of my stuff. And you guys showed the photos I got years ago. Like, you showed me about a year ago. So I come in and had a chat with you for the first time. And I've always had encounters. When I was younger, I'd had a couple of encounters with yowies and stuff like that. So I just thought, yeah, something for me to do, something to pass the time. And I get out all the time. I'm lucky I can travel 5 minutes from my house and I'm at somewhere at a location that I've had an encounter, whether it's something on the thermal or had something run through the bush at me or roaring. Like I've showed Leon, I think I've sent it to you as well, GA. I was out the front of my house one night and I was recording howls that were coming from the river, and the river's only about 50 to 100 metres away from my house, and you could hear something massive down the bush roaring and stuff. Like it's all around me, and it's just, I think it's just because I've got my eyes open and I'm actually looking for it. And with the black cat there, Leon, we've had that many encounters in my area, like all the cold truck drivers that go up to the mines from back in the 50s and 60s, every day they used to see one in the same spot cleaning itself, and just simple stuff like that. We don't have big cats in Australia, but we keep seeing them everywhere. They're always black. But then a few years ago, I actually seen a tan one, which was more like a mountain lion, run across the road in front of me. And it, after talking to a few people like Gary Oppett and that in Australia, they're experts in the field, and he said it might have been a marsupial lion that's still around because that was the colour of them. So, yeah, it's just crazy. You've got all these creatures that are out there, and we seem to be seeing them and finding them all the time, but they keep saying that they're not real. So I thought I'd do a podcast and try and share it with people.
Well, I enjoy watching your channel. That video you shot from the kayak is really pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. I nearly crashed the drone. I had to put a video together, and that I had to try and land it in the kayak as the kayak's moving. And when you got the drone out over the water, it loses all the GPS, so it just sways on the spot it won't lock on. So I'm trying to sway it and trying to time it, and I eventually dropped it into the kayak, and I ended up cutting my finger open. There was blood everywhere, and that was funny.
Attacked
How
by
you
your
guys
drone.
going?
So, have you guys noticed a trend of an increase in the number of sightings in your areas?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The last 2 to 3 years, it's just gone through the roof.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Tim, what about you?
Yeah, I've noticed seeing reports of going up as well.
That
Yeah.
seems to be the case here in the States too, and I wonder if the Black Plague of the 21st century, causing everybody to stay home for so long, didn't allow some of these things to start making a comeback and start reclaiming territory.
Losing their fear of us too.
Yeah.
I reckon they're looking for us. They used to us out bushwalking and stuff like that, and then they're going, what the hell's going on? Where's everyone going? We better go.
Where are they all? Yeah.
Hey, I don't
That's
mean
it.
to
Well,
be
and
a
we
bearer
talked
of
about
bad
that.
Crip, can you fix your audio a little bit? I don't want to. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I could barely hear you and everybody else. I'm sorry, man. It's coming in like so muffled.
What about now? Is that any better?
A little bit.
Little bit. Because everybody in chat was like they couldn't hear you.
How about now?
That's lower and a lot of background. I just want them to hear your side of your story and stuff like that. That's why.
Is that any better?
A little bit. Can you go into your mic settings and turn up the audio?
Yep. Yeah, I turned it right up. I'm using a headset there because otherwise, if I use my mic, it's going to pick up all the noise from outside. We've got cicadas going crazy and everything at the moment.
Yeah, it's picking up a lot of background static in the background.
Yeah, what about now? Is that any better?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I can make you out. It was just coming in deep, like her. I just want everybody to hear you and understand what what you were saying. Everybody was saying they couldn't. It was muffled.
Yep. Is that any better or not?
A little bit. Hopefully everybody can hear you. So, hey, Leon, back to that video you shot about the tunnel. Would you tell us a little bit more about that, where that tunnel was and what possessed you to want to go in after it?
Oh, well. It is part of a drainage system for an ancient coal mine on the banks of the River Irwell, which is not a very big river in the UK. It runs through the centre of Manchester. And on that river, I've had loads and loads of people tell me they've seen some strange animals, weird things. Basically, huge, massive black dogs and animals that look rather like a cross between a hyena and a, what would we say, baboon, which the face, if you think of the face, that really sticks out. But yeah, that cave, it's it looks like a cave. It was originally, there's some water course running through it, but I think it was dug out in 1650 or something. It was some going back mega years. And on, like I say, on that river, when you look on the map, there's a river, a railway, and the canal, all within spitting distance. And a lot of my work I do here, nearly every sighting or report, those three things are within spitting distance of where it's been seen. And I don't know, I grew up in that area up till about 14 years old, and there was always talk about these caves that existed along that river. And because you get a sighting and they say like, oh, it just suddenly disappeared, where did it go? I thought to myself, maybe we need to try and find if these caves and these things really exist, these dugout tunnels. So we went down, me and a mate of mine went down, and we got an idea, talking to some locals, where it should have been. So we decided we're going to make a film about it and go down and try and get inside this cave. No one's been in it for God knows how many years. If anything's been in there, there's going to be prints, there's going to be hair, there's going to be things of that nature. So we got to roughly where the area is. It took me 3 batches of my drone, and that'll fly for about 15 minutes. So it took a good hour to find it just with a drone. We finally pinned it down, got in there, without ruining the whole episode for you to watch. I wouldn't tell you what we found or what we didn't find in there, but it was a creepy, scary place. And since then, I've also been further downstream and found another cave. We've been in there, like I say, looked inside that, found evidence in there, and apparently there's another 2 or 3 very close to where they are, and these are all kind of connected into this ancient coal mine, like I say, dating back to 1600s, 1700s, and it just seems too what's the word? It seems too easy for this creature to just disappear from nowhere. And where is it going? It's not jumping into water and swimming away. Is it going underground? Is it disappearing through another a portal, or, you know? We don't really know, do we? Let's be honest, where they do disappear to. But these caves are definitely got some kind of connection to it. The last cave we went in, that was a report I got off three guys who was what we call it over in England, wagging it, which was like truant from school. They were wagging it from college, and they were drinking beer and having a couple of what would we say, musical cigarettes, let's say, and they all fell asleep and saw this creature coming running along, and they said it was like a baboon, basically, but all fours. One of them obviously thought, like, what the hell's this? This, woke the other 2 up. They were as awake anyway. It was something, they were just lazing around, stoned or whatever. And they saw this animal slip down a mudslide and disappear. Once they'd reported it to me, I thought, wonder if that's disappeared into another one of these cave tunnel type things. So me and my son went to have a look where they told us where that was another. It took us ages to find that. When we got there, yeah, everything seemed to line up what these guys were saying. But that, like I said, that area riddled with caves and water systems underground, and we're hoping to go back this spring to have another look round in there. But yeah, it's a scary, horrible thing to be in. Some of them are the size of probably you're squeezing through these gaps. But yeah, it's all good fun, as they say.
We've noticed that they use a lot of caves here in the States. In fact, most of the missing 411 sightings, the clusters of major disappearances correspond to known cave systems here in the States. Tim, how about you and John, either one? You guys noticed anything similar to that in Australia? Do you think they use caves, or do you have a lot of caves in your area?
Definitely. There's so many caves and all sorts of stuff like that. Of course, they'd use it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
We've got heaps of caves around my area,
Yeah.
and there's the locations at some of the places. There's no way something could get away with you without them using something like that. Like,
yeah.
See,
just
you sound much better now. Sorry, man. You sound awesome now.
Yeah, well, I dropped the mic out of me headset, and I'm using me mic. It's not picking up too much stuff, is it?
No,
You sound great.
Crystal clear, man.
It's
Great.
38 degrees here, so I had to put the aircon on. So I was worried the aircon was going to.
That's exactly what I'm doing, man. My aircon's cranking too.
I downloaded a program called Crisp, KRISP, and it costs like $10 a month to have the service, but it filters out like my air conditioner, and it's a cheap program, but it does a really good job of eliminating background noise.
I should try that with a wife.
You read my mind. You said what I did.
She's in the next room. Oh, she can't hear me.
Mine's watching right now, so.
Luckily, mine's asleep. Hopefully.
So this is something that we're finding in common from the UK and Australia and the US, and even from reports from Canada, that a lot of these clusters of sightings are in or around locations with known cave systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen some stuff online. David Pedalis, he's missing 411, and then someone put up the cave systems over superimposed them. And basically, it's just exactly the same, isn't it? It's just stuck straight on top. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Did you see that? Did I send that stuff to you, Leon? The ones in Australia. He done one a couple of months ago. It's probably nearly a year now, of some missing persons in the Victoria High Country, and about the time he put that video out, I had a look, and Victoria had earthquakes, and where the earthquakes are in Victoria, there's no tectonic plates crossing or anything like that. They never have earthquakes there, and when you went to the earthquake location like website, it landed in the same spot as the missing persons. And then I had a look at the Australian Yowie Research website. They've got an interactive map, and I actually looked at that map and then lined them up, and it was just a big cluster of the earthquake marks, the missing persons, and these Yowie sightings. And I was like, maybe they weren't earthquakes, maybe they were dropping tunnels because too many people are starting to go missing there or something like that.
Yeah,
sounds like a good video. That
it easily could be.
Yeah.
Leon, I've got a question for you. I meant to ask you this the last time you were on, and it's something that occurred to me, and I've been kind of formulating it around. There's an old story in England called the Black Shook, and it supposedly attacked some churches. Do you think that might have been a Dogman?
Excuse me, sorry.
Considering the size of it and the depth of the claw marks?
Yeah, there's a big, obviously, having a time machine and going back and looking straight into it. But yeah, it ticks all the boxes, and most sightings that I get reported to myself, it is more of a black dog, the size of a donkey. Which about that story is, I think is that the one that scratched the church door?
Yes, that's the one.
Yes, yeah, this is. I'm thinking of the right one. Yeah, the marks are still there to this day as well, actually, on that door. But yeah, going back through history, there's umpteen stories of huge black menacing devil dogs, and it's probably the exact same thing as what's happening now. Like I say, it's always huge. It's always black or brown colour. Very little said about its hands, whether it has hands or paws. I've had a couple of reports where the people have sworn blind that as it ran off, it had hands. I've had one report where it climbed up a wall of a quarry. And the guy saw it climbing up this quarry wall, and he swears blind it had hands. But it just looked like a huge black dog. But yeah, going back through history, the black dog story and scenario. Even Arthur Conan Doyle wrote about it, didn't he, with the Hound of the Baskervilles and all that. It goes back forever, and I think there's also a mention of it. God, what are they called now? There's a couple of girls from 18th or 17th century, and they wrote some books. Bronte or something. I'd have to look up what it was, but it's even mentioned in one of her books of this strange animal that chases people down dirt tracks and things.
Do you guys have any good pictures to share on here with us, or no? That you could share up with us?
I could. I wouldn't even know how to share it on here.
If you got some that readily come to mind, just text them to me in Facebook Messenger, and I can put them up.
Yeah.
John William Nighthawk had a question for you. He said, "Do you guys have any black-eyed children reported there?"
Not that I've really heard, but I don't really go looking for that sort of stuff. It's Dogman and Yowies is freaky enough for me. I sort of stay away from that sort of stuff, but I'm sure there would have been. Like, they've been all over the world, so.
I'm right there with you. I don't mess with that paranormal.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't. I've heard little about them.
That guy.
But I've heard little about them here, but I don't know any details or any sort. I'll deal with anything else, but no, I'm good.
I'm right there with you.
I'm good.
When I had my Dogman encounter and I had that voice in my head telling me to go now or die, that was probably as close as I want to get to that sort of paranormal stuff. You know what I mean? I still don't know if that was the Dogman that done that, or might have been
that was
my
survival instinct.
Just your brain going get out of there.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that or it was in the land that my Aboriginal ancestors lived on, and a lot of people
maybe it was
said
them
to me,
telling
maybe.
you.
Yeah, a lot of people have said maybe it was them warning me to go.
Right.
Go now,
get out now, man, go.
Because it was a definite voice, and I'd never heard it before. Like, it wasn't my own thoughts or anything. It was a voice telling me to go, and that's scary enough. Yeah.
I've never had that happen to me in a cryptid environment, but I was at least a couple of times I can think of when I was a cop, when I was about to enter a building to clear a building. I was about to enter by myself, and that voice in the back of my head's like, "You go in there, you're gonna die." And I backed off and waited for additional units. But I've had that voice in the back of my head before, and I don't know if it's some primitive part of my own brain or, again, survival instincts or what it was. But I've had that experience, but I can't say it was cryptid related at all, because it had nothing to do with cryptids. It was just some people that have broken into an empty building.
I'd only ever had it before once, and it was when I was real young. I was probably wasn't even a teenager yet, and me and my family went to the snow, and we went to a different section that wasn't like you weren't snowboarding and stuff. It just went on an adventure, and we were all sitting there talking, and something yelled in my head, "Turn around!" And I turned around, and my little cousin had hit a ice patch and slid, and she was sliding down a hill, and at the bottom of the hill was a cliff, and it dropped about 50 meters onto the rocks. And I turned around, seen that, ran, and I slid down beside her and jammed my feet in and grabbed her and stopped her from going over the cliff. And that was the only other time I've ever heard that voice. And it was like, you know what I mean? It wasn't me thinking, because I was facing the other direction. It couldn't have been just my thoughts of, oh, got to get going. It was turn around. That's all it said. And I turned around and seen her and stopped her from falling off the cliff. So, yeah, it's weird. I don't know what it was, but
it is. Yeah.
I stick away from that sort of stuff. I don't want to bring anything home with me. I've got the missus and the little kids. Like, I don't want to even.
I'm right there with you. I don't blame you. I said it and I'll say it again. Nope.
Yeah. I'm with you guys on that.
I'd rather run into a Dogman and Bigfoot out in the woods and swamp than deal with all that crazy paranormal. No, sorry.
That's it. I sent through DA. I sent you that the photo of that cat that was caught on the security cameras too on Messenger. And there's a little video.
I'm going to show that here. I'm going to have to share it on the screen because I don't think I'm going to be able to share audio. But I'll share that video real quick. Everybody can get a look at it.
The audio doesn't really matter. It's someone's just screenshotted it and screen recorded it. And
yeah, this is taking a screenshot off a computer. So.
And what the cat's standing near, they're concrete barriers. I don't know what your roadworks are like in America and stuff, but we have these concrete barriers they'll put around the edge of the road when we're working off the side of the road. They're about 1.2, 1.3 meters high. So
Yeah,
you can tell it's a big cat walking up to it.
That's big.
Same thing by us.
Yeah, we've got the same things.
Yeah, that's a cat.
Yeah, that's a big old cat.
Yeah, that's not no house cat.
Nope.
You can see its shoulders slinking.
Yeah.
And that's about 5 minutes from my house, and I know that from that section where it was to the river's only about 500 meters where I had my yowie encounter where I got bluff charged, and there's been big cats seen at that river, and about 500 meters up into the bush is my cousin's place, and they've seen the big black cats walking around their property too. Like they're all through, they're everywhere.
We got plenty
of them.
You know
what kind of cat that was? It kind of looks like an American cougar.
Yeah, it looks like a panther.
It did.
What it looks like.
Yeah.
The way the tail come back up in that little with a little black dot, almost.
Yeah,
looks like a mountain lion.
Yeah.
Just like a cougar. It's what it looked like to me when I was like, wow.
So I've seen.
I was going to try to. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen the Black Panther up here 2 times, and I've seen one night. Well, we didn't see the mum, but we seen the cub. It was out hunting and that. I did a video on it. You can't really see it. It was when I first got my camera and I hadn't worked out how to use it. But had the mum hissing at us and stuff. But they were all big, massive cats. And then but that cougar, the coloured one I seen when it ran across the road, it didn't even run. It jumped from out of the bush onto the double white lines in the middle of the road and then into the bush on the other side in front of me. I nearly crashed my car. But it was real skinny and like that real lanky sort of build like the mountain lions are compared to the
Yeah.
I was going to try to share Leon's sound video with the Dogman audio, but I can't figure out how to get it to let me share the audio.
Huh.
If I'm going to try to download the video, but I'm not sure it will actually let me download it with the audio. So I'm going to try. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I can't get it to download. Anyway, let's get back on track. Like I could get lost trying to figure out how to record that, how to get that video over.
And we get lost a lot on other stuff.
That happens.
So I always like to ask this. And I'm sure I've asked Leon this before, but he may have had a new qualifier for the run. What is your most terrifying encounter?
Oh, yeah, I'd still, it'd still be that audio, that growl, that gurgle would still be.
If you felt that in your chest, it was close.
Yeah, I could feel it vibrate. It was like being in a an old rave club from the 90s. It was inside. But yeah, I would say that's still the scary. And then a close second is finding the big cat marks in another cave when you're wedged inside there, thinking where the hell is it? That was scary. But yeah, the audio bit, the being gurgled, growled, whatever you want to call it, a bit like infrasound, really. That was pretty damn scary because, like I said, he just laid there with no decent weapons.
Now, is there any difference between the Dogman in Australia, England, well, UK, and in the United States, or no?
Well, mainly here in the UK, most sightings, like I say, people talk about it being more of a dog than a man, if you know what I mean. It's more of a huge beast of an animal that shouldn't be there. That is more of our sightings are along that way, not very seldom upright type ones. I've had a couple where they're upright. One leaning on a fence. That's a guy. It cocked his head at him. But he can't categorically say whether it was stood up itself on its own legs or it was leaning on the fence. Like I said, the guy in the quarry ran up the side of the quarry wall. That's probably the closest I've been to a sighting that is close to one in the States where they say a dog man with having arms of a human and things like that.
Yeah, they get some people that do see Dogman or Bigfoot, Sasquatch. They sometimes get it confused because of their snout. So, some of the pictures. I mean, we looked at one, and what's her name took that picture, DA, and we could swear it looked like a Bigfoot from the side view, had ears and a snout. What was that? Who was that, Robbie, that we looked at those pictures?
I think that was Marty's picture.
Was that Marty? Yeah. I mean,
Marty sent us a picture, but I can't remember if she was the one that took them or if it was something from somebody else. But that was Marty's pictures we were looking at.
Yeah, I think that was from Marty. And you couldn't tell. When you looked at a face, she had the picture looking at you frontward. The frontal picture of it looked like a Bigfoot, and then she had the side shot almost, like cocked a little bit. You could see the ears, the pointy ears and stuff. And I went, oh, okay. I mean, they get them confused down here. Sometimes you get a
Marty said she took them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would still want to get a Tombstone and John's input on that. What was your guys' most frightening experience?
You want to go first, Tombs?
Yeah, I'd say, like I talked to you guys about earlier, when I was growing up and I had that what I think was a Yowie encounter. I don't think anything else it could have been. Coming home at night and hearing crashing like bipedal style walking, like heavy footfalls. And I know what kangaroos are like. I know what they sound like. And it wasn't a kangaroo. And and the fact that how high up the eyes that I call it were, they're like nearly 8 foot up. And having been told it was an owl as well. No, it wasn't an owl. And having it basically kind of shattered me down because the bush near the side of the road there was quite thick at the time when I was growing up. So no one's really going to be walking through there. And I got home pretty quickly. I mean, that scared me quite a bit because nothing's meant to be out there, especially at night. And I'm walking down on my own because, I mean, it's a small town where I grew up down Western Australia. No one's out and about at night. So I'm like, I'm gonna go home now.
Yeah, people don't realise what our animals look like in the Australian bush until you've been in the Australian bush.
Exactly,
like you can
man,
hear
exactly.
a kangaroo, like you know it's a kangaroo straight away. You can hear a
That's
little
it.
rabbit or a fox or anything, like you can spot it. But when you hear
Exactly.
something that's heavier than you and then heavier than Nelly, if it sounds like it'd be almost as heavy as your car, like but walking on 2 feet, you're like, that's not a
Exactly.
person. Like
That's
it's
right,
very
man.
hard. It'd be the same with us guys looking at videos and hearing videos of creatures walking through the forest in America and in the UK
That's it.
and that. Like it's a complete
You're like-
different noise unless you
Yeah.
know what you're
Well,
listening to. It's
That's it.
hard
And
to.
that's what I was gonna say. You know, I know DA knows, and I know, and Anthony knows. We've all been hunters and hunted our entire lives. I mean,
Right.
you know what the sound of a deer walking through the woods. You know what that sound is. You know,
Know
Right.
your
Yeah.
environment. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the snorts and the grunts and the snorts and grunts
Exactly.
and all that. Yeah.
It's like for us, like anyone that hasn't been here or come from here or whatever, they hear a freaking koala grunting, like especially mating season, it's gonna freak them the hell out. Like they're gonna
Just
be,
our-
what is that?
Just our ringtail possums when it's mating
Yeah.
season, the screams
Them
of
too.
them, it sounds
Yeah.
like a little girl being murdered.
It does.
Like it's just a dirty little possum. Like you look at
Yeah.
them, they don't make any noise until it's
But I mean,
mating
it's
season, and
massive sound.
Yeah,
That would be like, what the hell? Like, especially if they're going at it. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
We do a lot of I used to do a lot of hunting when I was younger, and you'd hear pigs in the bush. You'd hear all the different animals, the foxes, the rabbits getting attacked. Like so, when you hear something that's not natural, you know straight away that it's got to be a yowie or a dogman. And there's a lot of talk at the moment. There's not many sightings of dogmen in Australia, but
No.
what I've been talking to a few people about is maybe that's what people have been putting down sightings of a bunyip. Because if you look up the bunyip, a lot of people's they describe it looks like a big massive dog in the water. Or there's there's other descriptions and that, but a lot of them, if you type in bunyip right now on the internet, the first couple of things is like a big dog-headed creature standing in the water. And all my encounters have been within 50 meters to 100 meters of a river. I know you guys in America are the same. Like, you used to have so many encounters of dogmen around water sources. That could be why there's no Aboriginal lore or stories of the bunyip, of the dogman, because they're actually.
That's true. That's true, man. I in my research and actually talking to some Aboriginal people, I said dogman. They're like, dog what?
Yeah.
That it doesn't exist in there. I mean, they have the devil dingo on that, but that's something else. But there's no anything about dogman, which is why I kind of stumped as to what. I mean, they had like John was saying about the bunyip. I mean, we got would say the megafauna, Jacanopithecus, like that could have been mistaken for the bunyip. So, I mean,
It's just I'm thinking that because I don't look it, but I'm Indigenous and I'm in the land council and stuff because my ancestors were all got murdered in the Appin massacre, and there was only one that was left out of them, and the only way I could find out about my family's history was to go to the land council and learn all that. And even talking to the elders, they're like, I've showed them photos and they're like, wow, what is that? They're asking me what that is. Like,
that's what I came across too, man, when talking to them. They're like, what's a dogman?
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, if it had any basis in the mythology and the dreaming, they'd be like, oh, well, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Or this is what we call it. But there's nothing there.
We either thought that it might be misidentified, or the encounters I've had with them have been pretty creepy. Maybe a lot of people haven't come back in the day, like back before white people come to Australia. Maybe they were knocking people off. There wasn't many witnesses to tell other Aboriginal tribes about them because they were getting eaten by them.
That could be true. Exactly. There's no one to report to anybody else about them, so no one's going to know.
Yeah.
It's true.
Had a couple of questions I wanted to work in real quick. Miriam Nunn had a question, but I think that would, this one would be a good one for anybody. Have you ever heard a Sasquatch growl, like deep growl that goes through you?
I haven't personally. I've heard knocks, which
I think
actually
DA
don't.
can hear one behind him.
No, I think somebody rang our doorbell.
Ding dong. Yeah, I've heard
Like,
knocks,
who the
which
hell's ringing this time of night?
I don't actually think are actual them knocking on trees. I think they're vocalizations actually. Them knocking sounds.
That's a good thought.
They're like you know how people can click a tongue really loudly. Well,
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't do that. I mean, I wouldn't see why they'd really be banging on trees with sticks or anything. I think it'd be more like a vocalization, like communication. I've heard that, but I've never heard like a growl, like anything like that myself. I've heard a bit of like, so it's like a bit of a huff and puff, sort of like that sort of thing. But I've never heard the growling bit. No, not that I really ever wanted to.
I had a grunt behind my deer stand, which was clearly no deer because it approached on two legs. But I've never actually had like that reverberating feeling in my chest from one screaming or growling.
I've had that with the Dogman encounter. You all know that. I don't want to go into it if you've already heard it and stuff. But that when that creature ran through the bush at me and was howling at me, like before I had that voice in my head telling me to go, like my chest was vibrating every time it howled. And I've been out with Attila Caldy that's just brought out the documentary Tracking the Law. I'm in it at the end. We go into this. We actually go to the location. I took the photos, DA, and show you we found some stuff in that location. And but we've been out to different spots in the river near where I got the photos, and we've heard like the big whoop, and then we went to another spot and we could hear something. We couldn't pick it up on the video, but we were walking and we could hear howling. We'd walk down this hill, down the bottom, and we're looking. We found this spot. There was all trees in crosses and trees knocked over and stuff. And we could hear something up on the ridge above, like where we had just come from, howling and roaring and stuff. And we're going, can you hear that? Can you hear that? And we had a big rock thrown at us and we had to take off, but we were worried because we had to run back up to where this thing was howling to be able to get back to the car.
What documentary was this, John?
Tracking the Law. I don't know if you've seen Track Search for the Australian Bigfoot. It was a couple of years ago. It's on Amazon Prime and Tubi and stuff.
That's right.
And the new documentary, he goes into more of the indigenous aspect of the Yowies and Junjati and stuff like that. He talks to elders and they go to different locations. And at the end, because he heard my story and my encounter when he was making it, we went out and did a bit of a research day for the video, and he for the documentary, and he put it in at the end. But Tracking the Law, you can have a look at it. It's got the trailers on YouTube and that, and I think you can get it on Amazon, Apple TV, all that sort of stuff. It's hard to work out what you guys can get it on over there, where we can get it in Australia because it's sort of
different.
Yeah, but it's
it's YouTube. All that stuff is different here, man. You guys get stuff on YouTube differently and Netflix than we do.
Yeah, I got a VPN and went on the Netflix one day, and there was about 10 million more things in the American one. I was like,
the good old VPN helps. Yeah,
we're all paying the same money, and we don't even get to watch all this cool stuff you guys have got. But then it's the same for you guys.
It's called censorship, my friend. Censorship.
100%. 100%.
I'm gonna watch that tonight when we get off of here. I'm gonna watch.
It's worth it, mate.
I've watched it, and it is awesome. Trust me, really.
It's good.
Get your hand in your wallet and get it downloaded or buy it like I did. It's so good. It's so fresh to hear and watch something.
That's a good description.
I haven't seen that one. I've usually seen most of them.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really good.
So the first one he done.
There's a handsome young man in it as well, and down there in the corner, hiding in the dark, but we can see him a lot better in the video.
He's incognito. That's all he is, man. Incognito. He's hiding.
He is.
Witness protection program.
But yeah, it is really good.
The first one's on Tubi, so you can watch that for free.
Okay.
Search for the Australian Bigfoot, and it was pretty good. But this one's after, like, they just finished recording that, and then we had the big bushfires. Like, the smoke was coming. Our bushfires the smoke was blanketing the whole earth, like they were that big, and they went back to make this second one, and all the spots they'd gone to had been burnt out. So it's sort of at the start, it shows you the bush regenerating over a few months until they can go back to these spots. And he had
I'll
to go
get all that from you, man. After the show, when we stay on, I'll get all that info for you so I can look it up and watch it tonight.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Seriously,
he would go out with him. Every time I go out with him, something freaky happens. It's sort of like if I go out by myself, I always have something happen. But then when you go with him, it's like it's times 10. Like we've been to spots.
He's a magnet.
Magnet.
Yeah. I was going to do a video on it, but I wasn't at first because we weren't sure what was going to be in the documentary. But when we were recording for the documentary, we went to the location of where the creature, like the Dogman, come running through the bush at me, because they're two different locations where I got the photo. And we were sitting down at the water, and you could hear something moving on the other side of the river, and they couldn't pick it up on thermal. And I looked up the top of the ridge, and I could see glowing like orangey yellow eyes looking at me and blinking, and I could see him, and then it would move behind, like side to side of this tree. It was looking, blinking, and then it would move in that, and they couldn't see it. And I'm like, it's 100% there. I can see the eyes.
Different, man. That'd be if me and Robbie and DA were there. I think me and Robbie and DA would have been pulling out the 458 SOCOMs, and everything would have been aimed in that direction. If that thing would have blood charged us.
When I seen a lot of lead going downrange.
Yeah.
I seen the eyes, and I grabbed my butter knife very tight here in Australia. That's all we can really take with us.
And we're defanged and disarmed here.
Yeah, if you guys ever come to the States, trust
that'll
me.
change.
We'll
take care of that.
I think we got enough weapons. We got enough rifles and weapons to hand you guys when we go out. Don't worry about it.
We'll take care of that.
Sweet.
Wanted to say a quick thank you to Miss Lanita for the super sticker. That is awesome. Thank you so much. We had a great question I wanted to ask you guys. This is for all three of you guys. Marty from the Nona Boss Continuum wants to know, what's the best piece of evidence you've collected?
I reckon, like, the photos I got, I found a lot of evidence since, and like maybe the thermal images I've been getting the last couple of months, like the first thermal creature I got, you can see it's definitely something hanging out from behind the tree. But then the second one, it's like 3 meters tall, and it wasn't putting off a heat signature. So it's sort of, I got to go do more like research out there to make, like, wipe everything else out, make sure it's not a bush, or that was definitely not a bush. Like, I've seen this creature stand up, but them photos, like, I probably won't beat them again.
Huh. So you do have some good evidence as far as photos go with the Dogman down by you.
Yeah, Dio hasn't showed you?
I haven't seen him.
I've been waiting to get you on the show to show it all.
He won't disclose anything to us, and we're his brothers. Trust me.
Yeah, he showed my photos on it before, but then these new ones I've been getting on the thermals are pretty wild. One of them would have been about 3 foot tall, 4 foot tall. Like, it was, I thought it was massive, but then when I've gone back in the day to have a look at it, I thought it was like 200-300 meters down the bush. I was like, this creature's massive. It turned out that the tree that it's standing from was like 15 meters from a car. And
so it was like a juvenile, maybe? Was it a juvenile, you think? Yeah.
Might have been a ginjadi, maybe, but they're the smaller hairy man in Australia. So or just a juvenile, but it was only small, but it was there. And then this other one, it's a good 60, 70 meters away, and you see it. You don't see it stand up because I was hooking up the thermal to my phone so I could record it properly in that. And by the time my phone clicked on and it actually connected, I didn't get it stand up, but I watched it through the binocular stand up in front of me, and I crapped because I was going to get out and go for a walk, and I couldn't. When I seen that stand up, I was like, I'm not getting out. What about you guys?
One of the ones you sent me.
Yeah, no.
I'm not sure how well it shows up on the screen.
Yeah, this is one of the recent ones I got a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's a thermal, weren't it?
See, it's not. It should be putting off white like the trees, but it didn't. It's like it was masking. I don't know if it was masking its heat, or maybe it's better. Yeah, maybe its coat was real thick and it wasn't putting off the heat signature. But that's what stuffed me, because you can see all the bush. You can see the bush behind it in front of it. It's a whole different color. Like if I didn't see it stand up, I probably would have missed it, because I seen it stand up or rise up out of the bush. I was like, what the hell is that?
Hang on just a second. I want to show something. Got to get it pulled up. Sorry, this is one of the videos you sent. I'll share this now. John, you can tell us about this one. I'm going to let it play while you talk about it. It's a little over a minute long.
Yeah, well, this is the creature. You can see it in the middle, and it stood up. Like I said, I missed it standing up out of the bush, but I'd seen it, and you can see that it's definitely different color to the rest of the bush around it. And at some stage, I don't know if it turns its head or not, and it looks like you see ears on it pointing up. But yeah, if like I said, like if you were just sort of looking at it, you sort of wouldn't see much. But because I seen it stand up out of the bush, you can see the shoulders on it and its head, and you see it move slightly in that, and it stood there. I was sat there in the car for probably an hour looking at it, and it did not move. It didn't take off, whether it knew it could pick up that I had the thermal on it or what, but it wouldn't move. And this bit here that it's just panned over to, that's where I got the first creature on the thermal. So I got to do another video and put it all together to show that the first creature on the thermal wasn't there. But yeah, it's a little walkway you can go down there. I was going to go for a walk that night. I had me thermal, I had me night vision camera. I was going to go down for a walk with the GoPro and everything, have it all going, and just walk down and have a chat. And I got this the first time I got someone on thermal over there. It was the same thing. I pulled up, I heard something sort of move, and I got that feeling someone was watching me. And I pulled the thermal out and seen this creature, and like I said, worked out that it was only about 15 meters from the car. But I'd recorded it. I'd had all my stuff charged up, and when I had it all charged up, I got there. I had the thermal going for not even 30 seconds, flat battery. It died on me. I pulled my night vision camera out. All the infrared torches, they died. And I pulled my headlamp out and started hit there to try and get it with my Sony camera too. And then my headlamp died, so I took off because I was like, my car's got a battery in it. I've got the car off. If I can't turn this car on, I'm dead. So I took off. But then I've come back and got this creature like a couple of weeks later, the bigger one that you'd just seen. This is another one. I went out with a tiller. We'd had a lot of stuff going on in the bush. I couldn't work out if this was a creature standing there or not, but it looks like it, and we heard something move there. But one of those things you've got to get back and get out and actually investigate.
You got I thought Florida had some thick stuff. You guys take the cake for some thick woods.
Yeah, our bush gets thick.
This is the location of where I had my first Dogman encounter, where it ran through the bush at me. And then when I seen this thing, when I seen that thing.
Yeah, there's something there, Johnny. You could see it.
Yeah. But that day, me and Attila went back. It was the first time I'd been back there since my first encounter with the Dogman. And we were down there for about 20 minutes, and there was some operation going on with the police helicopter. We got footage. We haven't used the footage of that because we weren't sure. Because that side of the bush where that thing was is actually Army barracks land.
Oh.
And this police helicopter was going into the barracks and out and surrounding it. It was the way it was going. It was like it was pursuing something. And
that's crazy.
What I don't know what it's like in America, but in Australia, no one's allowed on Army land.
No,
police, nothing like that.
Definitely not here.
Same here.
It's like a federal offense over here, even for a police helicopter. And this thing was going in. This helicopter was going in and out, and it looked like it did a drop bag. And we're not too sure, but it was like it dropped this thing out, it come down, hit the ground, and then they lifted it up, and it was gone. So we don't know what was going on. And I don't really want to talk about it in case it was something important, you know what I mean? But for that to happen, and we'd heard another howl that day down there, and then on the way back I seen that, I was like, that doesn't look like a stump. It looks more like skin or hair and that, so I just recorded it. But yeah, I'm getting a heap. The more I get out, the more I sort of get evidence, but it's hard.
It's funny that you say that by the Army where that was taken. Where me and Robbie are going in April.
Yeah,
it's out here by me in the Ocala Forest. It's a naval bombing range, and there's been tons of sightings near the bombing range.
Yeah,
that we're going to be camping at. It's just weird that you said that. It's always by these military compounds for some reason.
Yep.
And whether whether they're like a lot of people have said, maybe they're their guard dogs. You know what I mean? Or is it these creatures know they can go there and they're not going to have people harassing them? You know what I mean? They know they're safe in there.
That's a good thought, man. Maybe they know that if they go on there, they can't be pursued.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Like this is the first creature I got on thermal, that one that was just going then, and you've seen it was only little, and you can see it's leaning out behind a tree. Like there's no, there's so much going on. And I don't know if it's the last 3 years, like with COVID, with the lockdowns and all that, whether it's they're coming out more because no one's been around, or there's the veil dropped a bit more with all everyone's scared, fear, and all the crap that's going on. Whether that's changed something, or it's just the numbers are going through the roof, or we're just getting better cameras and we're getting out.
Right. That kind of looks like DA. That looks like almost like your picture. From
it does kind of. Check this one out. This one doesn't have the low battery in front of it.
Oh yeah, that's like
a really dark shape.
That's almost.
I see what you mean, Anthony. Yeah, a DA's one.
The one that he took the picture of him and Steve doing the book promotion where it's peeking out from behind the tree.
Yeah.
It's almost identical. If you, I mean, that's crazy.
Have you seen, Anthony, have you seen the red filter I got on the Dogman picture?
No. Oh, wait, yeah, I did see that one, yes.
You seen that one? Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that one.
It's crazy when you can put filter. You have to, it sounds silly doing that sort of stuff, but you sort of have to put filters and that for people to see it better. Like, it's so hard. Like, I've had people look at my photo and the first Dogman photos I got and tell me it was a kangaroo. Or one bloke even said it was like a crane, like a bird. I was
right,
like,
that's the one that you sent us that night. It was looking over the bush. It was looking over the top of the bush. I see.
I remember that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that many people tell me, oh, it was a kangaroo, or it was
a bloody big kangaroo,
or a bird, or that. And like I said, I'd been there, and when I was there, I thought it was standing at about 7 foot. Oh, this is a different one. Yeah, this is one I just took a photo of a structure, and when you zoom in, it's like a dog's head on the other side of it.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
You see the eyes and everything. Yeah,
and we don't. I'll be honest, man. We don't show red circles, but that one pretty much. He's against red circles. That's good for itself right there. That does look like one.
Yeah,
I see it.
That when I first had that encounter, I got the photos. I was thinking it was 7 foot tall, and then when I went back with the tiller and Yowie Dan, and we actually investigated the area. You went in behind, like it was all vines and that, and the bank of the river just dropped off, and we've estimated it standing at about 10 foot, 12 foot high. Like it's massive.
Wow,
that's crazy.
So that's the structure I've seen. This was in between the two sightings. So like where I had the photo and then had the first encounter with the Dogman, this was along the river.
Bro, I could swear that's like Florida. That looks just like Florida.
This one's about probably 500 meters down the road from my house, just in the river, like about half an hour away from the Dogman location.
That's a structure right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
But I still reckon my photos, the first 3 photos I got, would be my best evidence. But
well, wish us luck. Wish me and Robbie luck come April.
Yeah, hopefully you get something.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping.
Just be
Even
safe.
if I got to kick Robbie down the trail and run away.
Be safe.
And Robbie's yelling for his life. I'll get it on film. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
What about you, Leon? What's your best evidence?
There it is. Right there.
Yeah, that's your red filter one.
Yeah.
That really brings it out.
Yeah.
But that
looks like a big
original.
kangaroo.
That is the crazy. That's clear.
That's it's perfectly clear. That's not a bloody
kangaroo. They tell me that's a kangaroo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if that's a kangaroo, I'm freaking Santa Claus. That's not.
Look at the ears. Look at the ears and the snout and the eye sockets on that.
Yeah,
with the shoulder coming down.
Yeah, I laugh and they said, "Oh, it's a kangaroo."
It might as well be waving at you. I mean,
yeah,
that thing. That's probably one of the best Dogman pictures I've seen. Am I right?
Yeah.
DA, Robbie?
Oh, that's a damn good one.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
it is good because everybody stole it and spread it all over the world.
I mean, the one that Marty has, is good, but this is good. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm going to put up the one Marty sent us here in just a minute. She just sent them to me again.
I had a guy that has a big channel on YouTube, and he actually used my photo like that as like the thumbnail for his video.
Really?
And I went to YouTube and told him to take it down, and they still never took it down. He ended up changing the photo, but it's still got my photos in it. Like he talks about it and shows the photos and that. But so I was like, I don't care.
Marty
like,
sent.
Yeah, nice. So people can ask me, "Oh, can I share your photo on that?" I wouldn't care. But for someone that's got 270,000 subscribers and just making a video out of nowhere, I said to him, "Dude, you could have just asked me, and I would have said 100% use it because I want people to see it, so people know that these creatures are out there." Like it's the only reason I come forward. I've got little kids. I've got the missus and little kids. We go camping and everything. We had no idea. Like I'd had a Yowie encounter before, but I thought it was way down in the bush, not. This place, I got the photos of that. It's like 15 minutes from the main city in like Sydney. Like 20-minute drive and you're at the Opera House. Like
it's like
not supposed to happen.
The one DA talks about, they've had accounts of them going in dumpsters in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, that's crazy. You imagine being a homeless guy sitting next to a dumpster drinking your wine. You look up and there's a 12-foot Dogman standing there.
You want more wine?
Yeah.
Actually, those sightings are what inspired the imagery I used in the short story Demons.
You'd hit yourself over the head with the empty bottle, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, or hit it a little harder.
So you'd be like, "What am I drinking here?" Yeah.
This is some. Yeah.
Yeah, that's those pictures were just that one that you had, the last one, John. That was nuts. You can see that plain as day.
Absolutely.
That's when I seen that, and I showed me Dad, and he's like, "That's the best one I've ever seen." And he showed me a few that he's seen on YouTube, and they were like an eyeball from like 700 meters away, and I'm like, "What is that? That's a Dogman."
What is it?
Because I honestly thought it was bullcrap. Like I've said to you guys, I thought Dogman was something you boys in America are sort of exaggerated, like, you know what I mean? Not being rude or that, but thought it might have just a bit of a laugh or a joke. And then when I seen that, I seen the photos that I'd seen the creature. I couldn't work out what it was, so I took them photos and paddled off. And then I looked at my phone. I was like, "Holy crap, they're real!"
Oh
yeah,
Leon's got some pretty good photos too. Leon, you want to describe these for us?
Yeah, that is Winter Hill, what I was talking about before, where I got the audio. That is the cave type system thing that was dug out in the 17th century, and that's me looking all hip and manly and frustrated SAS bam.
I was gonna say, you look like SAS there. Yeah, you're ready to go.
This is the one that really catch your attention.
Hello.
Yeah,
look at the size of those freaking prints.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no thanks.
That is from the quarry. The guy took a pot shot by accident at it, and it climbed up the side of the quarry. These are the prints we found. My son actually found it on film. When you actually watch the film, my son didn't believe it all because he's a good cameraman, my lad.
You know what I don't see there? I don't see a dew claw.
No, they're
not one bit.
They're huge.
Well, look at the elongated heel pad.
I know.
That's the same as those tracks that Jody Cook got from the North American Dogman Project.
I don't see a dew claw, and that's what you could distinct them from. That's not a regular dog.
I've got a compass similar to that, and that's every bit of 6 inches. So those prints are easily 6 inches across.
Big.
That's big. That's huge.
Yeah.
My English Mastiff at 2 bills, my English Mastiff's paws were nowhere near that big.
No.
I think on the video, I took the horses off and put them at the side of it, so the circumference is as wide as the glasses that go around my head. So that's a big print.
And that's obviously canine. Those are not cat prints.
That's definitely canine with those claws.
What jumps out to me is that elongated heel pad. That is something that a lot of tracks have been found here in the States have this same thing. That's one of the things we look for I'm part of the North American Dogman Project. So one of the things we look for to legitimize Dogman tracks is that elongated heel pad. Most canines, that pad is not that long.
No, it's nice and short. That is big, man.
And I could tell you something else about I went. I think it was we found that on a no, it weren't. It was a Saturday. We found them on a Saturday. I work split shifts. I work for local government. I drive a school bus for disabled kids and that. So I finish work at like 10:30 in the morning. So I had this idea to shoot across there and get some more photographs of it and get a plaster of Paris actual thingy bomb of it. So I shot there on my own. Walked down to get these plaster of Paris things. And someone had already poured plaster into these prints. There was a bit of a tub at the side of it where they'd been mixing this thing to pour it in. Then I heard like radio chatter, like couldn't see anyone. There was someone else walking around the place. Somebody or some agency type thing, whatever you want to call it, something or someone was there and they beat me to getting them tracks in this bloody plaster of Paris. Because if it got one of them out of it, it'd have been a lot better. But yeah, I made a little video somewhere on my channel. Is me there all sweaty with sweat marks under my man boobs, like I've just run out. I've just been down there to get these prints, and I could hear this radio, and I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I'm really like crapping myself in this video. It really caught me off guard. But yeah, those prints, yeah, they're belters.
Those are damn good prints. Some very well defined prints.
Yeah.
Tim, you find anything like that in your area?
No. I haven't really been doing much of that in my area. Well, since I lived here, back home, I've seen a bunch of like, I'd say like structures, I guess you call them. I saw a few prints, but this is when I was a lot younger, so I really didn't know what they were. I just kind of thought they were just a person, I just kind of dismissed them. Thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah, dumbass, what else could they be? But I didn't know back then.
Right.
But yeah, that's I don't have anything current, but yeah, that's I've seen, as I say, I've seen a bunch of shit and I wouldn't recommend it up to you. You know what I mean?
Understand.
Yeah.
What are some of the encounter stories you've heard in your area, Tim?
When it comes to Dogman, John's one is the most prominent one I know of around. Not far from me, because he's down from me. He's not too far away from me. Other than that, I've heard of with the Barrington Tops. There's been many different Yowie encounters there. From kind of passive to like flat out kind of aggressive as well. I guess like people, it just depends on the situation and I guess the intent and everything else, of what happens. Yeah. I have heard, there's not a ton of Dogman stuff here in Australia. That's reported anyway, I've got to say. Obviously, because look at what happens when some people used to report Yowie stuff, But I did hear of some instance of a woman in South Australia. She had a run-in with a Dogman type creature. It was her and her daughter.
Oh, and was that in the car?
Yeah, with a flat tire.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, it was one of the only ones I'd ever heard of. When I had my encounter, I'd never heard of them. And then talking to Sarah Bignell, she gave me a few. That one, that was freaky.
Yeah, it was freaky. And other than that,
can you tell us about that encounter story?
Not really much. Yeah, there was a woman and a daughter were driving along, and they got like a flat, and she pulled over to change it, from what I remember. And this big, like wolf dogman type creature, like appeared near the road where she was. She saw it, and it had like, it was, I can't remember. It was either holding or it had something in its mouth that was been eating. And her and her daughter saw that, and it kind of looked at them, and she kind of, obviously, as you would, you'd freak out. She hopped in the car without changing the flat and just took off. So
well, I can't say that I blame her.
I don't either. Flat be damned, I'm getting the hell out of there. Especially because she had a daughter with her too. I mean,
cheaper to replace a rim than a limb.
Or a child, exactly, man.
Or exactly.
But yeah, other than that, like, yeah, that's about all with that. But yeah, the Yowie stuff, and that's obviously pretty prominent. And not to mention, like John, I've seen cats as well. Back home, like I've seen one that was like black, like a big, like slinky bait, like a big black cat. But the second one I saw, because I've only ever seen two, it was kind of, I suppose it was the angle of the light that was kind of, it was hitting it. It appeared black, but then it was like kind of like a brownie, like a dark brownie color on an angle kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So it wasn't, maybe it wasn't completely black, but it was dark and it was big. It was quite big. And I wouldn't mistake it for a fox or a dog or anything like, like when I mentioned to some people, they're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's just a dog or, a feral dog or something. I'm like, right. And they go, oh, it was dingo. I'm like, okay. In Bustleton, Western Australia, where's the dingo come from?
I mean, how big do dingo get?
Not real big.
Not really big. No,
not as big as like a German Shepherd.
I was about to say
maybe
Belgian Malinois size is what I.
So not this big.
Nah, no way.
No, like wolves definitely get bigger than dingoes do. Definitely.
William Nighthawk sent us some pictures. I thought I'd share those real quick, get you guys' impressions of these. Here, the first one, I think this one's probably a Bigfoot track.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, a cell phone for reference, give you a pretty good idea how big that one is.
That's pretty big.
Here's one in the snow.
Three toes.
That's 3 toes?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that's maybe, if I had to guess, judging by the 3 toes, I would say that's probably a Gugway track.
Is that like a dew claw thing there on the left?
Possibly.
Like that little hooky bit?
I just noticed that.
Weird.
The little hook.
There's
good
one
chance of it.
fresh in the mud.
Tim, that looks like that picture you sent me the other day. I don't know what made this track.
The regular tracks and the one that you see, you don't want to know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like Dogman tracks, DA.
I'm thinking this one is. I'm only seeing 3 toe pads on the front, but the elongated heel is massive.
Yeah, no thanks. No.
And this last one doesn't have a picture doesn't have anything in it for scale, but I kind of get the impression it's pretty damn good sized.
Yeah, nice.
That's a good track right there.
It is. It's
Yeah,
clear
it is.
too.
Yeah.
Those were courtesy of William Nighthawk.
Nice. Thanks, Will.
That's crazy.
That is.
That other one in the mud with the big elongated, yeah, that's big.
Yeah, definitely, man. The one in the snow.
That's big too.
That's weird.
It is. It's really weird. Like you said, with possibly
long,
like
but
a dew claw.
It looked kind of narrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
On Northwoods, the 3-toed ones were probably Sleestack tracks.
Yeah.
And Land of the Lost.
Freaking Northwood. Classic.
Why don't we have him on the
that thing
show?
with all
We don't
that
get
fur.
him on the show.
We'll just have to do an entire show on X jokes, and we'll bring him on.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we won't be talking much as if you're laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
Exactly. A best of Northwoods comments show.
We've probably got enough material for 2 shows of that.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, comedy special 1 and 2.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, those tracks were crazy. I'm sorry. That's just nuts, man.
Yeah, I want
So,
no part of that.
what do you guys got planned, like, in the near future? You guys ain't got any outings planned?
I'm going to keep going to this spot that I got the thing on thermal. I've got a couple other places I want to go check out. We just got back from holidays, and I was planning on doing a few trips up. I went up to Port Macquarie. It's about 5 hours up the coast, and I was going to do a few trips, but it was raining all the time. And I went out one night and just drove around with the GoPro going on the dash cam, basically, and went into this spot. And I was like, how creepy is this? This place is awesome. Went in there, and I've seen something on the thermal, but my thermal was playing up on the other side. It's like going through this real tight bush, and you go on the other side of like a big lake. I seen something move, and then I heard something move in the bush right next to my car, and it didn't sound big, but it sounded on 2 feet, and it sort of sounded more human than anything. So I took off and sort of didn't really do any more up there about that because I didn't know the area enough to just go and investigate, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be going in somewhere going to put myself in danger. Like, it'd be different if America walk around with a gun on our pocket, on our hip or that, you know what I mean? You don't sort of worry about that, but then you got to worry about other people doing that too. But so I'm going to stick to around my house. Like, it's so easy. Like, I got the missus and the kids. I don't want to miss out on time with them all the time. So if I can investigate 10, 15 minutes from my house, I'd rather know what's going on around where I live than going a couple of hours into the bush. And a couple like Attila and Dan, they loved getting on the bush tracks and heading 2-3 hours into the bush and then have their encounters. And it's a long way to run if something goes down, you know what I mean? Like, eventually I'll start doing that a bit more with them, but when I've got the kids and spend a bit of time with them and I can still investigate and find stuff, I'll keep doing that.
That's understandable.
I want to come down to Australia and hook up with Toombs and shoot the most bogan cryptid episode ever made.
Yeah.
we'll get our full bogan on, man. Full bogan.
I've got me footy shorts and thongs on, so
there you go, man.
Find us a vehicle that's multiple colors.
Yeah.
Missing a hood.
I've got me mullet.
There we go.
Well, you got your mullet. I got my undercut, so
I'm nearly getting a mullet as well here.
Yeah, it's just shave the side. I got to shave the sides out of mine now because my hair's starting to go grey. It's the only spot that's going grey, so I just got to keep giving myself the mullet.
Mine's bloody white here, so I just shave it. But
that's it.
But yeah, looking at actually because we the Black Friday sale stuff. Actually, all the sales at the end of the year, we actually just purchased a big 2-person swag for camping. Nice waterproof one. So it was a hell of a bargain. What was it? It was worth about $600. It was down to like $187 or something like that. So it'd be stupid not to have bought that. Came complete with a mattress and everything bloody in it. So we're gonna sort that out and head off to Barrington and see what we can find there eventually.
Where are you at?
Sorry, man.
Whereabouts are you at?
We're up just past Newcastle.
Oh yeah, not far. We'll have to catch up one day and go out.
Yeah, brother. Like we're up just past Newcastle. Barrington's I think about 2 hours.
Yeah,
2 hours from us. There's a place up there called Devil's Hole as well, which is meant to have had a few things going on there. And apparently you can get once you get into the camp, it's nice, but it's pretty rugged, pretty rough. So I mean, if you call someone place the Devil's Hole.
Yeah, no kidding. We've got tons of places like that here in the States that are called like Werewolf Springs and Devil's Woods and,
there's
all kinds of crazy places like that.
In the Kosciuszko National Park, which I think it's about 4 or 5 hours from my place, there's a hut there called the Dogman's Hut.
You're right.
Cool.
I'd never heard of it before.
Awesome.
My sister and brother-in-law just got back from a trip, and she's actually had an encounter with something, and I'm trying to talk her into doing an interview with me for my podcast, and she's too embarrassed. But she was laying in their rooftop tent, like up on the car, and could hear the best way she could describe it was like a lion's chirping. And like, oof,
you're right.
Oof. But I was like, oh yeah, down in the bush. She's like, no, at the car. was like,
Wow.
Did you? I said, did you record it? And she's like, I couldn't force myself to breathe, let alone pull my phone out and try and record it. Like it was
that's true. You wouldn't be thinking to record anything.
And she showed me where it was, and I've looked up on the AYR website, and there's like 6 encounters with yowies and that in that area back to like
probably what it was,
like 1890s and stuff. And
yeah,
but yeah, in that same area, there's a place called the Dogman Hut. Like, what the hell?
Corey Cole wants to know if you've ever been traveling in a fried out combi.
I have actually been in the combi before, and I have, yeah. Don't ask me about backpacking either.
When we go hunting at my uncle's, we strap the lounge to the back of the ute like Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, that's good fun, man.
You get the 4 on the back with the spotlight. It's the best.
Yeah, you thought us Americans were nuts.
Yeah.
Aussie ingenuity, man.
You got to put the hay bales on first, because otherwise the lounge isn't high enough over the headpiece of the ute. So you put the hay bales down, strap it down with some hockey straps, and
that's it. You got the right elevation for the spotting.
Yeah. You just can't sit down when you use a shotgun because you'll flip the lounge.
That's it. You'll hurt your shoulder too.
Yeah.
That sounds like something we would do.
Yeah.
Next time I go, I'll get some photos.
Redneck engineering at its best.
Yeah.
Leon, what about you? Where's your next outing planned?
Well, excuse me, I've had a report of a creature seen eyeballing some kids playing next to a railway. The girl reckons she was on this train and she saw it sat on a bridge and looking at these children, and she just saw it disappear over the side of the bridge. That's the next thing I'm going to look. I really need a bit more background to it. Yeah, I need to check train timetables. I know where it is. It's not far from where I live. I need to go up there and just see if everything marries up to what she's saying. Like I said before earlier on, I like to go and have a look to see if the place exists first, and if all these all the crosshairs are in the right place. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to do a bit more digging first into asking her questions on weather and time, and like I said, the train timetable. But yeah, it sounds like a scary one. I don't think these kids saw it, but it's the same railway track that my friend's mother saw the huge beast walking along, which she said it was the size of a bull, that it looked like a dog. That was probably about 10 years ago. And that's the same railway that runs from the seaside town of Blackpool all the way to Preston. So yeah, it's another railway encounter. That'll be a good one to have a go at.
With all the Dogman sightings along railways, do you think that somehow might have been the influence for that movie Howl?
Oh yeah, definitely. Some that is.
That movie's brilliant.
It is a very good film, isn't it? Yeah. There's a lot of people in that who have worked on that film, and they worked on Dog Soldiers as well.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's a simple premise, both of those films, and I think that's why it works.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I was about to say there's not a whole lot to complicate it at all. Just simple, straightforward. Rely on
simple premise.
Yeah, rely on the situation to make it scary. Don't try to add anything, because you really think about it, there was not a whole lot of mention of anything supernatural in either one of those movies. It just, as a matter of fact, is where they were at. Everything was, oh, okay, this is what we're dealing with. But the situation itself is what made both of those movies so scary.
Right. It was just, the situation was thrust upon them, and they just had to deal with it. There wasn't a whole lot of, oh, what do we do? Oh my God, I don't believe these things exist. It's like, oh shit, here they come. We gotta react.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got a huge connection with railways over over here in England, railways and rivers. We've got old canal systems as well that go back to God knows, like the 1700s and that, and they're all disused now. But we get a lot of sightings reported around them. But those three, river, railway, canal, all connected. Going back to that movie, what's the saying? Art imitates life, is it? Or
Art
something
imitates
like
life.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you think, how you're being conditioned into,
We've
these
said
things
that quite a few
existing.
times on this show.
That's it.
We've had this, I think only last week, we've had a woman who was killed by dogs down south near I can't remember where it was now. It's near London. She was out walking dogs, and they think that these dogs turned on her and
We
attacked
get a
her.
lot of that here in the States too. Dog attacks.
Yeah,
we've had
dogs.
Yeah.
Well, they really threw everything at this. The helicopter was up, armed response, everything was there, and then the next thing, it's the dog she was walking turned on her and attacked her.
I don't think that would require helicopter and armed response.
No.
Not for a dog.
And
No.
Well, the same thing with that Amazon driver that was killed here in Missouri. They shot both of the dogs that were on location, but the necropsy was never revealed. So obviously they didn't find anything in those dogs' stomach. Yet the local sheriff and the coroner were like, "This guy was way too tore up for that to be a dog."
Yeah.
No, wait, who was the other story, DA? Where the lady went away and her dogs got out. Was that the one?
That was the Amazon drivers, but the dogs were able to get in and out. The neighbors were feeding them. The neighbors were feeding the dogs. It's not like they were starving.
Yeah, and the cop went in the house. Didn't he shoot him in the house?
Yeah, he broke into the house and killed the dogs inside.
Yeah, they were inside.
Well, I think it was this time last year, and there was a lady up near Prestwick Airport in Scotland. It's on the west coast of Scotland, and her car broke down. She managed to apparently ring the AA, which is not Alcoholics Anonymous, it's Automobile Association, to come and scrape her car up and bring her in. Apparently got there, there's no one there at all. A couple of days later, they find her body in the middle of this field, probably about a quarter of a mile from her car, and she's half eaten, and they said it was foxes or badgers.
Yeah, just like the one here that DA was telling you about. How much of the body was consumed, DA?
Over 40%.
40% of the body.
Yeah,
that's not too dog.
Well, I've looked into the one in Scotland, and the only reporting to it is that's it. It's a year later now. You would think it'd be like a coroner's inquest type kind of thing,
right?
Looking into
there
it.
Was there was a story that was sent to me from Scotland. If I can find the email, I'll forward it to you, Leon. But basically, it was up near Scapa Flow, and apparently their car got paced for about half a mile. It was like looking in their window, running next to them.
Oh yeah,
on two legs, and they said that was just a wild dog too.
What about the truck driver? That truck driver.
Mm-hmm. Joe, that was in Minnesota here. He had one running next to his semi, and it was looking him in the face, running next to his semi.
Running next to his semi as it was.
He shot it at point blank range with a Taurus Judge, and dropped it. By the time he got his truck turned around and came back down the hill, there was a Jeep there with a couple of people that were like, "Hey, you just killed our asset."
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer the government not only knows about these things, but they've been using them for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If they can weaponize anything, they're going to. Definitely.
Oh, I can tell you that. We can tell you that firsthand, man. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, if they can use it, look what they did with dolphins.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yep.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's crazy. And you get all these stories.
In World War II, they tried to weaponize bats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at they did with ticks and Lyme disease.
Yep.
Yeah.
Touchy subject, that one.
It is crazy. We're almost up to the 2-hour mark, guys.
Holy moly!
Really?
Time flies, eh?
Yeah,
That went pretty
it's
quick.
really
That
flown
went
by.
bloody fast.
After the show, John, don't leave. You guys don't take off yet. So
Yeah.
I want to get those websites from you on YouTube and whatever else it's on, so I can look at them tonight.
Awesome.
I posted them in the chat. They're also in the show's description, Anthony.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll send them over in Messenger to you anyway, mate.
All right, cool. Are you on my Facebook, Joe?
I'll have a look.
Look and see if you are.
If not, I'll add you now.
Yeah, put that. Send me your request. I don't think Leon, you on? I don't think you're in. Or Tomb.
Hang on, I'm checking right now too. I'm pretty sure I am.
I can't. I don't keep track of all. I try to keep track of all that.
I don't really check that much either, man, but I think I am. Hang on.
Me either. I try to. Yeah.
I haven't got you, Tombs. I'll have to get you. We'll have to sort
brother,
something out one
definitely.
day. Me and Attila and Dan go out up that way or something. We'll up and go out.
I will go ahead and post the both you guys' channels again. First one coming up, folks, is from Creepers Cryptids. That's John's channel. I'm posting that right now, and then I will also post Leon's channel. And Toon, when you get a channel, we'll promote it too.
Well, funny you should say that. I've been told by a few people, well, trying to kick me in the ass to actually do something with it. But I mean, I'm arguing about what to do with mine. So I guess watch this space, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going to start doing some interviews and stuff and get out. Over the Christmas break, I haven't done much because we haven't been here and with work and that. But hopefully I can start doing a bit more. I'm going to start training me racehorses again, so I might be able to dial down the work hours and get out and do a bit more. And I can't wait to start doing interviews. So it's heaps easier talking to someone. And I've done my podcast and I just talk about my encounters, but it's so hard to sit there and talk by yourself and you just feel weird. But I can get on and talk for hours.
Yeah, when you can bounce off other people and talk. Yeah, definitely. But other than that, I'll just be here with you guys.
Yeah, that works.
When Leon comes to Australia, we'll do a heap of videos.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'll be there.
Well, how long is that flight? How long is that flight from the United States?
23 or 24 hours, is it?
Jesus, Mary.
That's a lot of time
maybe
in the air.
less now.
That's a lot.
Maybe less. Yeah, it is. I mean, I can't remember how many stop-offs there are too. I think there is maybe a close direct one, but I think the other one is like you stop off in one or two other places. So I think it's I can't remember. I know definitely one of them's around Asia somewhere, but yeah.
Jesus.
That's I think to fly from here, I think you got to just stop off at Singapore if you come from the UK.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, literally living in the down under, we're pretty much in another galaxy to you guys.
Well, when you see them people on the internet that are posting videos how Australia doesn't exist, so maybe we're on Mars or something.
Someone said to me, like, Star Wars reference. They said, "Oh, so you guys pretty much live on bloody Tatooine, right? That's why you got Wookiees and that hanging around, and you got the little ones like the Ewoks, and you got everything's out to bloody kill you. Like, no doubt you got the bloody Sarlacc pit out there and Boba Fett chasing you too."
I always wanted to go to New Zealand. When I was big into hog hunting. I was really, really big into hog hunting, and the biggest thing we wanted to do is take a trip over to New Zealand and hunt those blue pigs. Those blue hogs that they have there. I mean, that's the only place in the world that they have that bluish tint to them up in that area. I always wanted to do that, but that's a long flight, man.
I mean, you can always come here with some bloody big razorbacks if you're after that.
Yeah, that too.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful going to New Zealand these days because you go over there and you'll catch communism.
Communism.
Is it that bad there?
It's getting bad over there.
Don't start me on the sheep joke either, man.
Oh, that
bloody sheep. Oh,
Oh,
I love that. They're my favourite jokes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I like the one about why they wear gumboots everywhere. I won't go on about it. That's enough.
Is that something to do with putting the back legs in?
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about things like that.
yeah, we tell some similar jokes about Arkansas here.
Oh yeah, and we got the ones about Tasmania too.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah, they're bad.
And don't forget about all the West Virginia jokes.
There you go.
You hear banjo music, run.
That's a fact.
Ding, 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 ding,
Well, that's a bit like Tasmania. See.
Well, yeah, pretty much. They're like the West Virginia of Australia.
You don't go down there to get a girlfriend because you're not related to anyone.
That's it. You're related, so it's the family.
That's like the Ozark
It
Mountains.
is the West Virginia of Australia.
It is. It is.
It's like the Ozarks up here, man. I told you.
And it's isolated too.
You ain't wrong, Anthony.
What?
You said like the Ozarks.
Yeah, it is.
You're not wrong.
It is. Yeah, go watch that movie. You ever see that movie Deliverance?
Yes.
That's it right there, brother.
It was
That
filmed
guy
in
can
Georgia,
Squeal
though,
like
so.
a pig.
Yeah.
Crap, that kid can play the banjo though.
Oh yeah.
He pluck that banjo. He pluck it real
He could
good.
string one like you wouldn't believe, man.
It's easy when you got 6
He has a
fingers.
pretty mouth too.
That's it. That's true. That's really true.
And he comes on like this and says, "Hey, there's boy."
You got some pretty teeth down there.
What it's funny, the first time my brother-in-law was at like my mum and dad's place and my sister went to work or something and he was hanging around for the day and he walked out and dad had Deliverance on the TV just as the dude said squeal like a piggy or whatever and he was like, what the hell's going on in this joint? And he ended up sitting down and watching it with him. He thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, it's
I'm
like they
pretty
say
sure
there.
once a year, Ned Beatty went by his agent's house and punched him in the face on the
Probably.
anniversary of the release of that
That
movie.
bit.
It's like the joke here. How do you circumcise a redneck?
Hey,
Punch him.
let's keep it clean, boys.
Yeah, I won't answer that one. I know the answer.
It's not
Yeah,
bad.
let's keep it clean. This is a family-friendly show-ish. Don't want to get us banned.
Pitbull done got off the leash again.
YouTube gets on the warpath sometimes, so we probably got as close as we dare get to that one.
I'll put it in private chat.
You'll have to.
Yeah,
It must be a good one.
I've turned my Australian down a little bit for today too.
yeah, we were rapidly approaching full bogan, so we probably should.
Yeah, I haven't even dropped the F-bomb, so we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, actually, I gotta
those
say I
those
haven't
I don't
said
mind so much, but some of those jokes can get us banned though.
Yeah, I haven't said any F bombs, and I definitely haven't any of the other either.
In Australia, when you need a word, like your word fill in a sentence, you just drop an F-bomb. That's the
Yeah, it's
easiest
kind of like
way.
that around here.
I mean, all the other ones, but yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
It's a term of endearment here.
Yeah.
Well, the sea.
Guys, I appreciate you guys joining us. I know we got widely disparaging time zones. Well, Leon's up wicked early, and you guys are, it's like lunchtime for you guys. But thank you guys for joining us.
3 p.m.
What time is it there?
3 p.m.
Yeah, it'll be almost 3 o'clock.
Almost 3.
4 o'clock in the morning.
it's
here,
Sunday.
nearly.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Sunday.
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh,
Leon, you're keen.
Holy.
You can't.
Anthony, me and you, and probably John and Toom are about the only ones that are in the same time. Yeah, because me and you are in the same time zone. I'm sure they're in the same time zone. But
Well,
DA
DA's
and
only an hour behind
Leon
us.
are different ones. Or
DA's only an hour
different
behind
time
us.
zones.
Oh.
The
Crazy.
Cowboys are getting confused again.
Yeah,
Right.
so it stuffs you up too here because it's 3 o'clock here. We got daylight savings time, but then Queensland doesn't. And I hit Saturday mornings and I don't have work, and I'll give Dad a call at 7 o'clock in the morning to see what he's doing. I ring him, wake him up at 6 a.m. What are you ringing me for? I finished work last.
Bloody calling me so early, yeah. I mean, I've got my mother, she lives in Western Australia, so they're 3 hours behind us.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Crazy, eh? They ring up to talk to the kids some nights, and they'll ring at like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and you're like, kids have been asleep for ages. Oh, I forgot you got daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the time to DA's only an hour behind us here, I think. Yeah. I think
it's 11 o'clock with us. It's 10 o'clock with him.
I can't believe you're up at 4 a.m. Leon, you're a champion.
That's
me, my boy. It's that Red Bull too.
It is.
It's Sunday by you guys or no?
Yeah, it's going to be a full English breakfast today.
Yeah, Sunday in Australia. So we're talking to you from the future.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, Leon is too. He joined you in the future. So.
Yeah, it's still Saturday night here by us, so that's the weird thing. Wow.
Yeah, we'll sort those lotto numbers out, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, like I say, thank you guys for joining us. Folks, don't forget we are an affiliate now with Scallywag Tactical. So check out Scallywag Tactical. If you go over by Scallywag Tactical, you can use this link. Or just at checkout, use discount code DARoberts10 for 10% off your order. And also, don't forget to check out Dark Angel Medical, who we are also an affiliate with. Doc couldn't be with us tonight. If you go over to darkangelmedical.com or use the link right there, use the code Cryptid25 for 25% off your entire order. And let both of them know we sent you, so they know who to blame. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a great time tonight. You guys are such a wealth of information. Check out both of their channels. Give them a like and subscribe. And we will definitely do this again in the near future because I want to get you guys back on. And
it'd be heaps good.
Yeah, and, we'll talk more Dogman or Yowie or anything in between.
Tasmania.
Yeah, Tassie. We'll get our Tassie talk on.
There we go. So again, folks, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys spending the evening with us. Make sure you guys tune in on Wednesday night when we'll be talking Werewolf Springs with Naomi Finn from Naomi Finn Storyteller. And hope you guys had a good time tonight. I know we did. Had some awesome pictures. John, you got some awesome evidence out down there. Leon, you too. Those track pics were awesome.
Go check that shit out.
Definitely check it out. And can't wait to get you guys back on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. It's been awesome.
I'm happy to be here and say hello to everybody and not be the invisible man for once.
Well, we appreciate everything with it. We appreciate everything you do in the moderation chat too there, Tim. I'm
always happy to help you guys, man.
Yeah, you guys kick ass. The mods are kick ass on the channel. I want to say a big shout out and thanks to the mods.
Yeah, definitely.
The mods do a great job. Thank you to all the folks over at the Patreon community at patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor. If you want to have advanced news about some of the books that are coming out and help and see short stories that aren't released anywhere else, or just be a part of the DAX universe. Hope you guys would check out the Patreon community. We'd love to have you join us. What else was I going to say? I generally don't run out of words to say. Big thank you to all the people who are members of the channel here. I want to say a big welcome to all the new subs. Welcome to the DAX Machina Nation. We appreciate you guys so much for spending time with us. Remember, we say it all the time. We'll say it again. We don't have fans. We have friends, and we enjoy each and every one of you guys spending time with us. We've had a wonderful time. Hope you guys will check out the books over at daroberts.net. Got a new one about to drop probably midweek next week. That'll be the 4th book of the Codename Wild Hunt series. Going to be called Death in Dyatlov Pass. Should have release information on the website in the next day or two. Also, there's a bunch of new merch over at the merch store. There are hats, new T-shirts. The DAX Machina, for those of you who are fans of the show, check out the DAX Machina gear. There's T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. I don't have hats yet because the logos have to be in a single color, and the DAX logo won't transfer over just yet. But my son's working on that for me. So check out the new merchandise. Hope you guys will swing by the Patreon community. go by and show some love and, like, share, and subscribe to the guys at Do It Noel's Way and Creepers Cryptids. And again, thank you guys for spending the evening with us. We had an awesome time. We can't wait to do it again. And we will see you guys on Wednesday night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.